Alrighty guys, so in today's video we are going to do the What's in Bloom video for the month of November. I am already quite late with it because I was busy at work, so I will start from here. This is my Paphiopedilim American Hybrid with its huge bloom. This orchid is in bloom for the second time for this year, so I would not completely say that this orchid grows slow. Actually, for me it does bloom twice a year, which is quite nice. It is in a self-watering pot, in a customized, let's say, self-watering pot, and now it is blooming from this growth, but soon enough these other ones will need to bloom as well. I think this will be the next one in about another 6 months. Very pretty one, not fragrant but very showy. Next in here I have my Vanda Pachara Delight. Right now it is finishing its blooms. It has been in bloom for the past 3 months now, and it is time I move her back on the windowsill, because here of course it does not have all that much light. Next, here I have a little Cattleya Snow Waldor. It is just slightly fragrant, and right now this bloom is kind of fading. This one will last for a few more days. Here I have my Oncidium Tiny Twinkle White. Here I have a spike, and here I have the second one. This orchid grows quite slow, her spikes, but that is normal. So you should not really hold your breath when you see the spike emerging. Here I have my Dendrobium phalaenopsis Polar Fire, again in semi-hydro with its 3 blooms. I have received this orchid from a friend a few months ago, about 6 months ago, and it only had this cane. Now it has grew this one, and it is in bloom for about 3 months, so soon enough I guess it will fade. Here I have an absolutely amazing Cattleya. This is the Cattleya Jungle Ice that I have received a while back from MissOrchidGirl. Let me open my flashlight. I hope you can see better now. This orchid never produces many blooms, only 1 or 2 blooms. It is the second time it blooms for me, and I must say I adore its fragrance. Now, I am not a huge fan of the fact that the lip is so much growing towards the front. I would prefer the orchid to look more something like this. But really pretty one. It is quite fragrant, and it has a spicy scent, very pleasant one. It is a rare orchid, so I am very happy I have it, and it is growing in a self-watering pot. Here I have my Phalaenopsis Vivian, I think, Sogo Vivian. It is a variegated orchid, very pretty one. I have no idea how this little plant it is called, so if you have any idea, please let me know. Here I have a Paphiopedilim orchid, which is super pretty, and I think at this point I want to turn off my flashlight because this is the natural look of the little bloom, again in a customized self-watering pot with a wick. Paphiopedilim longifolium crossed with Hain Popov, and let me show to you. It is absolutely adoring, growing like this. It has only pure water in there, so, and look at the root tips, really loving it. So it is not getting changed. And it is a sequential bloomer. So by the way, I have 2 of these, and if any of you are interested in buying the second one, please let me know, because somehow I managed to get with 2 of the same orchids and I do not need them. So it is a sequential bloomer, meaning once this bud will fade, another one will open, and it is forming just now in here. Here it is fading. I had actually Paphiopedilum, let's see, Dorama, very pretty one. It had a greenish yellowish look on it. It did lasted for 3 months, and right now it is fading, but soon enough the next one will bloom as well, so no issue there. I am so upset that I did not get in full bloom the Cattleya Dowiana. This is the most beautiful orchid I have ever seen, and right now it is not looking as much because it is fading, but yesterday it was in a perfect shape. The problem is that here is the table, there is the heating, and I was not expecting the heater to start on, so yeah, anyway, this orchid is not a long-lived one, so I guess I should have expected that, but I heard it is able to last for about 2 weeks, and I don't really think it did lasted that much, but I will put you some pictures with the bloom in its full glory, and you must see. It is amazing, and the fragrance is the most beautiful fragrance I have ever felt on a Cattleya orchid, or actually on any orchid. This is known as the most fragrant orchid that exists out there, so there we go. Here I have the Vanda orchid, which was infested with thrips. Now we can see that the other buds have blasted, but this one is the only one which survived the thrips and the pesticides which I have applied. Very beautiful one. I should have had about 28 of these, not only one, but what can we do? She also is growing 2 cakeys, so that is that. Here 2 of the blooms have faded, but I have 2 more. This is an orchid, a Cattleya orchid, which I have received from Dani just before she moved. So really pretty and quite fragrant, but nowhere near my Cattleya Dowiana. I must say I was expecting more of this orchid, so I'm not completely sure if I'm going to keep it. We can see she gave me 4 blooms in total, those ones and these ones. I am going to see exactly how much space I will be able to have. Anyway, my Phalaenopsis orchids all are spiking. This one is even branching in a self-watering pot as well, in semi-hydro basically. Even those which are in water culture. Even my dendrobiums are pretty much pushing up buds because they have received a winter rest already, so they have sit on this area for the past or actually from spring till 1 week ago, and I have let them until the night temperature was 2 Celsius. Ever since the night temperatures dropped below 8 Celsius, they did not receive any more water or fertilizer, but now this particular one has some nubbins, so I started to water it again, but for the moment only with pure water. I did not use any fertilizer, and I'm going to see if these prove to be buds or spikes. I think buds or cakeys. I do think they are going to be blooms because it has received a harsh winter rest, and that took about 1 month for me. This my Brassavola cuculata is not really showing any signs of blooming anytime soon, and I am a bit let down because it has 3 new growths with sheets, but who knows, maybe in summer. This is my favorite Phalaenopsis, and this is because my boyfriend has gifted it to me, and it is growing to spikes, which makes me super happy. interesting thing I have in here. This is a seed pod on my Cattleya Dowiana. It has bloomed, but of course I think I missed it for this movie, so that is that. Really nice. Soon enough it will need to be harvested, so yeah. And here is a beautiful orchid, if my phone would want to focus. Maybe this one is better. So this is my share baby with its huge spikes. I honestly believe this is believed this was the share baby let's see, the sweet fragrance, but now I am not all that sure anymore, because that one was supposed to have a different lip, and last year it did had it, but we can see that the color of the lip is not a stabilized feature. So on the lip of this one I have just a bit of white. This one almost has none of it, and I have a huge display. I think I have about 150 blooms, and that is quite amazing because my whole house smells like chocolate like right now. I have 3 spikes. This one, it has almost 1 meter. This one a bit smaller, and this one is still with buds. Very pretty one. Next, I have a Cattleya Alma Key Tip Mali. She is gorgeous, just opening right now, pretty fragrant in the daytime. And here I have 2 blooms, here I have 2 buds, and she is growing more growths, which I'm sure they will bloom. Very beautiful orchid. And here I have a gorgeous Dendrobium Latoria type. And I will write you the name on the screen because I don't quite remember it right now, and I have 0 chances to getting to its ID. And here I have a gorgeous orchid. Here I have 2 blooms, 1 in here, 2 buds here, and 2 more I think in here. And I actually found the ID for this orchid. So this is a Cattleya Snow Waldor, and this is actually the Cattleya which Danny calls Princess Jackie, but the seller who sold both of us this orchid is selling it with an ID now, so I'm sure is this one. Very fragrant, very creamy, very nice. Okay, so there I have an African violet, and in here I managed to snap off the bloom from my Phalaenopsis Pinocchio, so right now it's looking rather funky. But I will let it be because it is a sequential bloomer. Also, I moved it into the self-watering pot because this allows me to water my orchids more rarely. And this is the other Paphiopedilim, which I told you I have. Very similar with the other one, and I really don't need 2 of them the same. Here I have a little bloom which is still open from a Phalaenopsis orchid, which is in waterculture, and this purple light, it is from the Gemalites. For the moment I put them here to light off this side because I have very little daylight in here, and I ordered some more shelves similar to this, but the seller made a mistake, and pretty much I won't receive them anymore. But I found out after 2 months after I have ordered it, and I was waiting for it. So at the moment the other orchids are sitting in here on this improvised shelf because right now he is sending other shelves to me. I also have some buds on my Brassavola yellow bird. I have a spike here, another one in here, and here is my Cattleya Taiwan Gold with 2 spikes. Here I have one of them with 7 blooms on this one and with 4 on this other smaller spike. The other one, the Cattleya Delight, also has a spike. Same in here with my Phalaenopsis schleriana. So really a lot of things are going on in here, and I am super excited about these. The rest of my dendrobiums are in here. They do receive quite a bright light, but lower temperatures because they are right next to the window. I did not yet started to water them because some of them, even though I kept them in the cold, they didn't even stop from growing. So the growths are still emerging new leaves. And I'm not yet watering them because I want to force them to bloom. And some say that Dendrobium nobiles don't need a harsh winter rest, meaning they don't need very low temperatures. But what it is very important, it is not to water them. And even more important, not to fertilize them. So here they are. They will not receive any water for enough time until I see the buds starting to form, at which moment I will start to give them at first water, then later water with fertilizer. But until that moment comes, they are sitting in here, and in case the older pseudobulbs are getting too shriveled, at that point I will provide just a little bit of water for 1 or 2 hours. I will fill up the reservoir, and after that I will just drain it. And that is happening right now once every, let's say, 1 month. The leaves, some of the leaves will start to fall. That is perfectly normal. Here I have a Dendrobium nobile. Actually these 3 ones are Dendrobium nobiles. This is a Dendrobium anosmum, and this is a harder one to rebloom, Dendrobium speciosum. So we are going to see what we will get. Here I have another Paphiopedilum which is getting ready to open its bloom. This is the Paphiopedilum Debbie Robinson. I really like its name. Very happy to see it in bloom. And here I have my orange Vanda with 2 spikes. One in here, if my phone would want to focus, and one in here. My red Vanda also is getting ready to bloom. In here she has a spike. And my Dendrobium Suncold Blue is looking amazing. Even though this orchid was also infested with thrips, it really resisted very well their attack, and even better the pesticide. You will find out that quite often when you spray orchid blooms, they will fade, but this orchid did quite well in this regard. And here I have another Phalaenopsis Cleopatra growing in waterculture, and she really likes it. The blooms are a lot more colorful, looking really nice, and she is a continuous bloomer, a sequential bloomer actually, because it is pushing up more and more blooms. And here it is the main orchid, looking quite nice in there, and the algae doesn't harm it in any way. And I think this is pretty much all for this month, guys. I'm super upset because I didn't manage to show to you the Dowiana in full bloom, but I hope the pictures compensates for it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching, and see you all next time. Bye!